Back even me, it used to be like all the time I want to be on my computer, I'm always doing my work. And it became toxic because then also I wasn't seeing any growth. Yeah. The excuse was always, oh, no, I want a degree, or no, you need to do more, and I'm trying to do more and more. And this is unfortunately the thing I carried forward all the time whenever I worked. Yeah. Working with development, a lot of the time you have to have self-care, a little bit of it. In the corporate, nothing like that. They don't care. It's numbers. It's about performance. It's about somebody beating you or you do it yourself. And I think I started spreading myself too thin. Yeah. I was spreading myself thin. I never said no. Never said no. Okay, Nicole, by the way, there's this document. Can you PTR for me? I stop what I'm doing, PTR, go back. I'd rather come early. I'd rather have sleepless nights. And even I started losing my creativity in the process.
Welcome to the Creative Bulb Podcast. My name is Masha Tisa, and this show is aimed to help you get to your full creative potential. May is a month of mental health awareness, and we cannot talk about creatives without mentioning mental health, because a lot of the times we are victims of burnout, we are victims of so many things, and our mental health is just caught in between all this. And today's guest is called Nicole Chesoni. Nicole has a very interesting story of how she didn't know that she was in a burnout, and she ended up at the HDU in the year 2020. I know you guys are going to relate to her story, and in a way also get to learn a few things here and there. I've experienced burnout in a way, but not as intense as Nicole's story is. So I know you guys are going to enjoy this story. So please do not forget to like our page on Instagram. And we are also hoping to get the podcast to YouTube. So our page will be Creative Bulb Podcast. So please be on the lookout for that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy.
Okay, so what would I say? So my name is Nicole. Nicole is a mother, a feminist. Yeah, I know that's a heavy word, but yes, I carry it well. I'm someone's daughter, someone's grandchild, and I'm a friend. That's who Nicole is. I am fun-loving. Many people say I'm quite funny as a person, and I'm a go-getter. I'm a go-getter. I'm out to get it and to get the most out of life. I like to believe. Yes, that is who Nicole is.
What is it that you do professionally?
Okay, so maybe I can just give you a bit of a background. So mine is interesting. I am the firstborn of two. I have a younger brother, but I've grown up largely in a big family with my grandma, my grandpa. As in, I've grown up in a big family. Yeah, situfanya kama ya ushago, all in a community. Family kubwa. Aunties, you're not sure if it's your auntie or your sister or your cousin is your aunt. All of that stuff. Beautiful. Lots of learning. And so I had I have two girls. I said our mother. For me, that is key. I have two girls. I had my first one when I was much younger. And community presence, the scandal, the etc. And as a result, I had to start working. Why I mentioned that, as I mentioned what I do professionally, is because having a child young really guided my decisions in terms of the things that I did, my relationships, my work and work ethic. It took me in another direction altogether. A lot of the time kids are a 360 switch. It was literally a 360 switch, from being a student, planning on studying law, all these big dreams, we need to hire, we need food on this table, we need diapers, all that kind of a thing. So that kind of guided and switched my mindset and, kind of guided where it is I am at now. So in terms of my profession, I mentioned that I'm a feminist. I do a lot of work around development work. I'm passionate and crazy about working with young women and girls. And this started primarily when I started a program for teenage girls. Just to create spaces for them to talk about the issues that they face, including mine, and using my personal stories to shift what we think about it and the difference that we can make in our lives once maybe you've had a child or once you've had a tragic event happening. creating spaces, safe spaces that allow us to speak. I like that you began by speaking about mental illness and mental health, actually, not even illness, mental health. And I remember, for example, when I found out that I was pregnant, for me, it was devastating. I didn't know what to do. What did I do? I resigned. I locked up. I was in denial. And a lot of people do that. You pretend it never happened. And a lot of tragedy usually happens in that way. I've had a number of events that have happened in my life where I just switch off. As like I go on. Everyone's like, hey, are you emotional? I'm like, not now, not now, not now. And even as we do this podcast, you'll notice that I mention and refer back to being present, because for me, that is very important, because a lot of the time you'll be like, I'll shelf it for now, I'll deal with it later. Sitalia sai, you know, I won't hold myself, but I won't tell this person how I feel, or at a change, or this will change, and it won't. So I've been in denial a lot of the time over a lot of things, and that is how I felt I used to deal with things. So even with my first pregnancy, same thing, silence till the last minute. It sounds like a story, but yes, till the last minute. Like, I was asked, did I think about the name? Did I think about all this stuff? A lot of the time that I didn't, because first of all, I was afraid. And the spaces that we put together for the young women, and for especially the teenage moms, was spaces where we were talking about this shame. I like to put it in brackets, because we are ashamed, you're disappointed in yourself, your family is disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Your whole relationship, for a lot of them, their baby daddies ducked. It means a change in your education. You move from being a child to being a mother, and it really take a toll on you, and it goes either way. If you have a supportive family, sometimes you're lucky. It doesn't change the disappointment. It always will shift even the kind of relationship that you will have. And we don't look into that. But anyway, so that guided my work around my entry into development work. I started working immediately I finished Form 4. Yes, actually, I was counting. I've done almost 15 years of working. So I started working almost immediately. Not even almost immediately, because I needed to fend. I needed to fend for my daughter, and now I moved from mimi sio mtoto, sasa mimi ni mama.
Yeah.
So I've done development work. This is now 12 years. Wow. Again, as I said, I'm passionate about working with young women, working with girls, generally, and just creating safe spaces where we can actually talk about a lot of the issues that affect us. And a lot of it is emotion. There's the emotional aspect. There's some that is just factual, but then a lot of it is based around, our drive is based around our own personal emotion, our feeling. And a lot of the time that personal is political. It largely affects how it is we engage with people, what we think about ourselves, our confidence, creating spaces where you actually talk about how you're feeling. Because I think now with mental health, it allows us to talk about how we are feeling. Because that's the thing. A lot of them told, uyo amekasirika tu kila wakati. Or this one, I won't use the bad word, but she's a B. Or, a lot of the time it's because people are going through things in their own way and trying to process. So how they process, you become defensive. Sometimes you become super rude. Sometimes you're just having a bad day. You said you wake up. Sometimes you wake up and all you want to do is go back into the blanket. Sometimes it's shame. You don't want to be around people. People are like, we anajifungia. But also it's because you're not feeling like being around people for a certain reason. There's a way that you're feeling. And for me, I think that allowed me. I used to be the one who says, this one, how did she get pregnant? This one, her life is over. That was me until I was sitting on that hot seat, And
how old are you when you got pregnant?
17.
Wow. Okay.
I just finished before. Yeah. Okay. So for me, that was it was eye-opening, and I feel like it was a sign from God for me to open doors and demystify things around teenage pregnancy. Because a lot of women have been pregnant, either have had an abortion, an unsafe one at that, or have given birth through held away, or have given birth and still bear the brunt of feeling like they're not worth it, regardless. So does it mean that your life stops at that? Are you judged? Are you tattooed that because I'm a mother or I got pregnant, I can't go on, or I had an abortion? And girls do crazy things. I'll tell you. And I think me opening up about that and where was that, because I think I was in denial, I was depressed, but nobody ever noticed because I carried myself a certain way. And I thank God, but not everybody is as strong. How many women are we still losing to abortion in this day and age? How many?
Yeah.
I want to share an experience in that, because I had gone to the church at some point for help. And then they told me, why did you get pregnant? That is the response that they gave me.
What?
I walked away from the church for that reason. Yes, they asked me. I'll never forget. I wouldn't mention the church, but they used to run a program for teenage mothers. The first thing they asked me, so I'm coming for you to help me. And that's the first thing that you asked me. Of course, I know I'm judged. I'm here for your help. I walked away and left. Somebody else also at some point wanted to purchase a child. These stories of purchasing, it happened from a long time ago. So do you see your headspace?
Yeah.
My headspace was so off. And I can imagine me who has access to a lot of things. What about that girl who doesn't have access? So when you see her drinking jik, you see her, you do crazy things, even you're just like, tea leaves, you what, all that stuff. We put ourselves in some situations. So anyway, for me, this it guided how I started working on young women and girls and working on rights and our responsibilities and creating spaces for sisterhood where it doesn't matter what you say, you come naked. Yeah, you come and share your experience, share what you're feeling and what that makes you feel. So then we can see how we help each other. I mean, I ran a program. I ran that program for a year. After that, it developed into a program for football called Binti that was now reaching out to younger girls from underprivileged background to just talk to them about their bodies, understanding your body. I'm happy now. A lot of people talk more about body positivity.
Yeah.
I'm happy that is happening. When I was growing up, by the way, if you're not thin, I don't know. Yeah. If you're not thin, that is it. You need to be thin and light. I think like, hey, nami kwenye natoka. Haikwangi hivyo. Hatutoki hivyo. Hivyo, you know. And so that means that you're not a beautiful woman. My hair, I hated my hair because it was very hard and coarse. Now I'm seeing people changing and shifting mindsets around what beauty looks like. And how do we make sure that we can take it down? Yeah. How do we take it down, especially to those who don't have access to a lot of these things? So creating spaces for girls who are using football as an avenue to bring them together. Yeah. I ran a program for 5 years. After that, I went into doing leadership.
It's called
Binti. After that, because I was Binti Initiative. So I was working at an organization, a young women's organization. And so I worked there from internship throughout. I worked there 12 years actually in total.
From the time you're 17, you're 18.
Yes. From that time all the way. They say where I come from. See, tunakwanga loyal workers. Tunabaki one place forever. Na tunapendanga waindi sana.
It is true.
Tunafanyanga roho safi, you know. I'm the kind who would have a government job
12 years,
and I would stay.
Where as a young person,
30 years in one place, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that led me to doing women's work, doing work around feminist practice, feminism, leadership development. Yeah. I've done that. I did that 12 years. Then I have a second girl. I made a conscious decision to leave work to mother. I wanted that experience. So I left work when I was about to deliver and stayed home 6 months by choice. A difficult decision, but I wanted to enjoy that experience, you know. So I left. My office was very supportive. So I left them. I stayed 6 months. After that, I was like, hey, sasa, narudi kazini, you know. So I didn't go back into the development world. Strangely, I went into corporate. So I joined a marketing firm. I think it was very strategic to some extent. Strategic because it's very different. It's very different. There's nothing like as a woman, my friend. You come in a mini skirt, not pajamas. You know, you should look a certain way, talk a certain way, behave a certain way. And for me, I winged it. I won't lie to you. It was for me. I have no practice. I have no experience in working in marketing. And I just went, and said what it is that I wanted to do. And I said, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to start over. I'm willing to learn. And so they called me, but they called me those of even they were laughing. They're like, you've come for an interview with no papers, with no presentation. Presentation yangu ilikuwa proposal on word. It was a word proposal. I'll never forget. It was for yogurt. Yes, do a promotion on yogurt. Can you imagine? Ilikuja na word document, not PowerPoint word. The person who was just after me, I had seen. I'm like, PowerPoint color.
PowerPoint? Yeah.
What is what? No, I knew PowerPoint, but I didn't know I needed those things. Simi nafanya proposal nika nafanyia dona.
Oh yeah, because that's what you're used to.
Yeah, I didn't know that we need to put up PPTs, what, designs, videos. Anyway, they still called me, and I told them I'm willing even to do internship because I want to learn. I didn't want to sit in the house much. Yeah, I had been at home. My daughter was now 6 months. It made sense. Yeah, so I found myself in the marketing. They called me. Then they're like, do you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to take a chance on you.
Wow.
So I've done marketing now. This would be the fifth year. Yeah.
Wow.
This would be like the 5th year I've done marketing. And I went in between. I went back to the NGO, then came back into marketing. That was in regard to my professional life. Currently, I would say, what am I? I'd say I'm a development worker. I'm an entrepreneur. I've also opened a company I will tell you about as we go along. And I decided to venture into business. So I recently opened a marketing agency. Yes, but my marketing agency plans to be very different. I plan on working very different in regard to what I want to do, with a focus more on social marketing. So bringing those skills and expertise, and working with brands to mean something. I love storytelling, and so I love creating opportunities for people to experience different brands. And if in the process they can be socially enlightened, even better. So that is me. That's where I'm at the moment.
That's an interesting story. By the way, as a young person, you have a lot of years of experience, 12 years working experience, and then 5 in the corporate, and you've just begun, and your life has not even started. So let me ask you before we now, in terms of mentally, for those 12 years when you're working in the NGO while you're helping ladies, did that help you? Can you say right now that you healed completely from the trauma you had as a teenage mom?
Not completely. I mean, one of the things why I even mentioned that story was because the thing is, I think a lot of the time it's a daily thing. Sometimes some things trigger me. Yeah, a lot of the time. And I think now, many years on, I no longer even call myself a teenage mom, because for the longest time that was my tag. We're usually tagged certain ways based on either your experience, based on if it's trauma. So talking about it, yes, I will tell you, there's so much power in sharing, so much power in telling your story, because you don't know who you're going to touch. You don't. And for me, before I see that as a shame, it used to be you sitting, someone is like, that's your child. Unaona kanisa, wewe ndio umeshikilia mtoto na 16 years. Unajua mtoto wako analia, alafu hiyo ndio time analia na uko kanisa, umewekwa hapo nje kidogo. Then that's when you're being told to go for teen service. Do you go for teen service ama unaenda ya mama? Unaona? Those situations, there's shame in it. Now it's funny, but I think at that time sometimes someone just needs, but there's someone to just understand you.
It's true.
Yes, umefanya blunder. People, instead of talking, you just need somebody to talk to you. Hi, you're okay. Mtoto analia, malizana, kuja nishikie kidogo nikusaidie. And those are the things that helped me. So, and I think with time, so you heal from some of it. Sometimes some things trigger. Situations will trigger, even in terms of your relationships, understanding that your relationships are going to be a bit different because there's someone else who you're also taking care of. So I think it's in process. I won't lie to you that I'm over and done with it. There are a lot of things that I didn't deal with. There are a lot of friends I lost, a lot of family members who I lost along the way as I continue to find myself. But I think, like, at this point, the other day I was joking about it, and before you say, oh, I'm a teenage mother, like today I almost said I'm a young mother. Then I was like, I'm just a mother.
No, you're just a mother.
I'm just a mother. I'm just a funky mother. Yes.
Funky, youngest funky.
And I get the question a lot because I know enough people see me and they're always like, that's you? I'm like, yes, my daughter, she turned 15 yesterday, so you can imagine.
Like,
and we're walking around and I'm just like, and it's a bit obvious. It's a bit obvious, but I'm just like, yes, and we're rocking it and we love it because we have a great relationship. And you see, my mental health will influence hers.
It's true.
It will. And just maybe to share a little bit of a background, my mom also had me very young. If she was mentally healthy, a lot of things, it would impact on me, same way I will impact on my child. Because it's like a trigger. If my child has confidence in me and in my motherhood, and she can talk to me openly and I'm open with her, it is burden kidogo, because she doesn't have too many questions she should be able to ask. And it was, I mean, like when I was born in the 80s, so you can imagine if you're a teenage mom, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's true.
I've come to realize a lot of things that she went through and experienced that we see now. And I'm just like, if she had someone,
Yeah.
we have different personalities probably. So maybe she couldn't talk or she didn't know the right way to reach out. And it triggered for I must remain mentally stable and sane and continue to feed myself healthily for me to be able to impact on my daughter.
Yeah.
Because the idea for you to give your daughters the best.
It's true.
It's the same way I have a plus size girl and I have a slim girl. For
Yeah.
my plus size girl, I have to be okay with her being plus size because the probability that she'll be plus size for the rest of her life is quite high.
Yeah,
So it's up to me to either tell her don't eat,
yeah.
or you look a certain way and shame, even without knowingly. Hey, now where tumbo, where I can continue to do that. Yeah, I used to be called tumbo sly.
What?
And actually, tumbo sly,
Wow.
someone who likes to eat and has a big stomach. So you see, it's how do we make it positive? Because that is what will speak to our children, whether boys or girls. That's what will speak to them. So I think it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a continuous process for us. I think generally.
It's a constant.
Yes. So ongoing. There's some healing. Yes, there's some healing because I'm talk about a lot of things, but then there's also some stuff that I in the end haven't addressed yet. I continue to address.
Yeah, I hear you completely. Especially the part when you're saying it's continuous. Sometimes things trigger, sometimes things do not. Now, fast forward. So you have talked about your 12-year experience, your 5 years in corporate, and then there's so in terms of dates now, in terms of years, so you did 12 years, then you went into corporate for 5 years, and now you started your own practice. How long? How far? So long? How many years now or months?
That's my new baby. Months actually.
Months. Okay.
We registered in February, so
Okay.
we are 4 months.
2021.
Yes.
4 months. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Nice.
2021 this year.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
conception was before,
Yeah.
not 9 months, but the conception was sometime in October. We started discussions around October. I was still working somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, October, September, around September. So I was still working somewhere else. Yes. And then at some point I had to make that decision to make the leap. So so we are 4 months old.
No, we want to talk about now 2020 and the pandemic. And because I know you starting this company must have been influenced by something. So let's start with now 2020. How was 2020 as a year for you? Like mwaka ilianza aje? How was it for you?
Okay. So my 2020 actually started quite well, actually. I had just started a new job. I moved to another marketing agency. It was a good job. By the way, it's a job I had prayed for. Nilikuwa nimeomba.
Yeah.
One of the things you realize about me, I work hard and super, super hard. This is the thing. Sometimes I think a bit too much. And it took a toll on my health. But I had gotten a new job. I had gotten a pay rise. I was content. The things I had prayed for, and I was like, I've worked so hard. I worked hard. I was managing brands that I loved. I was creative, all this stuff.
Oh, sorry, Nicole. Sorry, let me interrupt you, kidogo. I've realized there's a part of your story we had not talked about. So you've talked about your story in the NGO, and you also mentioned you had now gone for an interview with a Word document. So can you tell us what happened from there, and then from 2020, then you can now pick from 2022?
How I've ended up at marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so they took a chance with me. So I worked there for 3 years. So why you're seeing a bit of a disconnect between there's somewhere in between where I shifted. I went back to marketing. I went back to NGO, then came back to marketing again.
Yeah.
So I've worked I've worked in 3 places. 2 of the places I've worked twice. They asked me to go back. I went back like that. Well, I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I worked there for 3 years. Then I was called back to the NGO. I went back, did a year, and then now went back there again. Wow. Yes. It's called being young, finding yourself. And then finally now left to another marketing agency, one that a company that I really wanted to work with. And so I was managing their brands. So that's where 2020 linipata.
Oh yeah, okay. So I get it.
Yeah, so that is where 20. So it said, I mean, like I was enjoying the work I was doing. The thing is just that the work was quite a bit. And for me, one of the things I will tell you is I'm still yet to finish my degree. And it had to go on hold because I'm a caregiver. I have children. I have one who's been in class 8. I pay for their fees.
Yeah.
So I had to keep putting it on hold. And if you understand the corporate world, by the way, especially marketing, it's hard. It's by this, there's no question of at I'm breastfeeding. Those laws don't actually come to play.
Yeah.
You know, you can work for years without having health insurance. Yeah. You can work without leave because you're on leave. Like now, Christmas was a it never used to happen. Half the time, sometimes I had to carry my kids to work. Doesn't of keep quiet, sit, let me do this, working long hours, working overnight. And for me, the thing is, I just wanted to perform. This is the thing. The work environment wasn't conducive, but I felt like, honestly, truth be told, I felt like I didn't deserve. If I don't work so hard, somebody else will have it.
Yeah,
you know, okay. I have to, let me overdo it. And everyone would be like, oh, Nicole, you love your work. It was like, it's not that I love my work. It's just that if I don't do it, nitakula nini. And I want to be indispensable. In the process, mdosi atakuangalia, employees wako wanakuangalia, wanaona huyu lazima atafanya. Like, let me tell you, I used to work and everyone knew where Nicole was. Every time. They would be like at 7, just call Nicole. You need something from the office, call Nicole. Yeah. That time it's 6 in the morning. No, to call at 7. She's at her desk. If Nicole is not there, everyone's like, why aren't you here? And it might even be a Saturday.
Yeah.
Or a Sunday. Like, why isn't she here? Back even me, it used to be like all the time I want to be on my computer. I'm always doing my work. And it became toxic because then also I wasn't seeing any growth. Yeah. The excuse was always, oh, no, hauna degree, or no, you need to do more. And I'm trying to do more and more. And I kept, and this is unfortunately the thing I carried forward all the time whenever I worked. Yeah. Working with development, a lot of the time you have to have self-care, a little bit of it. In the corporate, nothing like that. They don't care. It's numbers. It's about performance. It's about either somebody beating you or you do it yourself. And I think I started spreading myself too thin. Yeah. I was spreading myself thin. I never said no. Never said no. Okay, Nicole, by the way, there's this document. Can you PTR for me? I stop what I'm doing, PTR, go back. I'd rather come early. I'd rather have sleepless nights. And even I started losing my creativity in the process. And then it was, you have to be creative. You have to bring in accounts. And I'm just like, how do I do this? Yeah. So, I mean, like, one of the things I learned a lot in regard to creating content, doing pitches, proposals. I did that. I learned about brands. That's a whole different field. Yeah. And it took time. I had to read a lot. Unaambiwa sijui PSing, FMCG, you're like, what is that? And we're going to read and just keep improving myself. So I was improving myself, but at the same time, one, I was losing out on my passions to go back to school, my family time as well, non-existent. My friends used to come and see me in the office. That's how bad it was. If you want to see me, come see me in the office. So yes, we're meeting. It's Friday. Yeah, let's hook up. No problem. Why you come through? Yeah. Can you imagine that? Yes.
What?
Anyone who would see me, I was just like, I just come to my office. That's the easiest. You will see me and I'll continue to work as I. So I didn't know. I used to wake up like, I've not done this. I was that kind of a person. A lot of people said I was a workaholic. But for me, it was just that I felt like if I'm not doing it, somebody else, will do it. And I was uncomfortable about not being enough. So my parenting as well was sporadic. I was moody. And I just wanted to perform. But this is the thing, I wanted to perform in only one area of my life that was being taken. It wasn't necessarily that I was performing. I was working hard, not smart. Yes, we got a lot of accounts. Yes, I was creative, but I think I would have done so much more if I was able to create that balance. And I was just scared. I was honestly scared these guys will fire me. If I don't do this, who will do it? But when you don't do it, somebody actually will. So I didn't get leave. My relationship was a mess. My everything was basically just everything crumbling as long as nimeshikilia ofisi, as long as I'm able to work. That was it. So if I don't sleep 3 days, I'm okay. So you can imagine my health, you can imagine. And this other place I went to was almost similar. I was doing almost 3-4 accounts at the same time. I needed to perform. I never used to sleep. Same thing. I wouldn't sleep. I'm trying to do proposals. And I think my body was just telling me, and it actually did. Because I was doing a lot of field work. And like towards the end of, actually when COVID began, I was still working. I just kept getting tired. I was tired. I was feeling I'm not performing. New accounts are coming on board. I was irritable, but I was like, I have to do it. So Saturday, Sunday, throughout, like all the time I'm on my machine. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm in like 20 groups. I need to respond. Things need to get done. And I think I hadn't also learned the art of delegation. And I was like, if I'm not doing it, it's not right. So over and over. So you told there's a proposal education, Nicole, you sort it. Do you Nicole and overnight? Probably the other person on the other end, anapumzika amejipanga. Yeah, without blaming anybody else, amejipanga. You get? So I used to take it upon myself to take on everything and anything for me to be able to prove a point. And you see, like, I think that I carry from, that's why when you say, have I dealt with stuff? I still feel like sometimes I need to prove a point as a young woman, as a mother. I need to kuna standards. You get? And I feel like I keep chasing those standards to meet them and go over and above. Yeah. So all the time, instead of giving myself a pat on the back, I'm always like, no. So I was sick from like March, April. I started getting very tired. My performance, I would say, and I was struggling a lot with work. I wasn't enjoying waking up, and I used to wake up at like 4:30 every day, but I felt like it's not enough. So I was like, you have to sleep. If you sleep, you would have done that time you were sleeping, you could have been doing some work. Why are you sleeping? It's not necessary. I started getting insomnia. And then I got pneumonia. I went to OC check. It's my boss who said downstairs was a hospital. They're like, can you go down? You're about to pass out, because I almost passed out in front of them. Wow. So I go, I get checked. I had pneumonia. I was told to take bed rest. Nani kama mimi. Bed rest ni nani? I think I slept for 2 days. I was like, no, the office needs me. I need work. Not even when I was in hospital, I was on my laptop. The doctor had to take it away because I was feeling like, no, I'm disappointing people. They had to take it away from me. So it was, so I left, came back to work, went back to work after 2-3 days, by the way, feeling nothing. Unfortunately, then I collapsed at the office after another 2 days. So anyway, I really, by the way, I was like, but I need to work. So even if I'm told, are you okay? I'm like, yes. And you could see I was not okay. My chest was heavy. I was having difficulty breathing. Every time they would check my oxygen levels, when COVID tests, kada, nothing. So they couldn't figure it out. Are you resting? Bed rest. I'm like, I am. Laptop.
What?
So as an event of all of that, I was hospitalized. I lost a number of days in my life, because I remember I was in the hospital, I was checked in, I was out. When I woke up, I thought it was the same day.
That was in March.
No, this is not March. This is now March. I was in hospital. I went, I was checked, I had pneumonia, it wasn't acute. I continued to work. So August, is when I was admitted. Yeah, I was admitted. August, I was away for a week. I was like, I have to go back to work. Oh. September, now is when I was really now admitted and I had to stay at the hospital. And then that's when I lost like two weeks. And even my boss was like, don't come back, please. Like, because what was happening is I was unconscious, but consciously any discussion I was having was about my brand ambassadors, about promotions, about how I'm going to be fired. Now, this is information I was getting because I wasn't anti-conscious kabisa. And on the scene, the doctor said, take her phone, take her laptop, take everything. And I went back even to a point where even writing, I was shaking. Yeah. And this is one of the things the doctor said, you need to see somebody. You need to talk about what you're going through. You're going through something. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I just need to work. And you see, because then I had set standards and I was pushing myself. I didn't believe depression, me, how? Nicole can handle anything.
Yeah.
We're all human. And there's a breaking point, So the good thing is where I was working, they gave me 3 months. Yeah, leave. Either way, the doctor was like, don't work. Even told my family, like, no, she can't. Because then I had that whole out-of-body experience. I wasn't present. I was talking to myself, to everyone and everything that could be talked to. And for me, my biggest fear, by the way, the only thing I was thinking about wasn't my health, it was work. I was like, okay, when am I going to go back to work? When can I leave? Because I was thinking if I leave here, I can go back to work. But work for who? You see, at the end of the day. And then I leave my children, I leave my family. all at the expense of proving a point to work. And it was a toxic relationship with work that I had, and something that I think need to work on. It's something that I'm working on. That do what you're coming to do it to the best of your ability. Beyond that, there's nothing you can do. Me, I struggled with that a lot because I always want to do the best. I want to be the best, and so it took a toll on me, on my body, on everything. Yeah, basically in my life, my relationships, everything. My priorities had changed completely. It was work. That's my first priority. Okay, I have to go to school. I'll go to school to Mingala. Remember, the minute my children are swam, finished, no mimi tena, back to work. If not, I'm with my laptop there. If not, I'm on the phone. I didn't realize the impact that it was having until you come back and you're like, so and so this has happened, your child has grown, this is happening, everything is happening around you. You're in a relationship, but it's like you're in a relationship, all of this stuff is happening around you, but because you didn't even prioritize yourself and your health and taking time to breathe, then you're stuck. And this world is like that. Every day we're always pushing.
Yeah.
And we always you're young, you need to do this, you need to do this. We're always being pushed. Then we forget to just sit back and do, a reflection on who we are and where we're at. So I resigned in November last year. Officially, I just told them I'm not going to be coming back. So December, January, I was still a bit weak. And then in February, actually, what do you call it again? Then we formed a company, signed, registered. So we're still in the birthing stages of, documentation, all this stuff. Difficult because also I'm still feeling like I'm not there yet. So I'm struggling with that. I'm like, what do I do? Getting business, it's not easy. When it's an established company, it's very different. Now I'm tackling with my confidence. Did I do the right thing? I have bills to pay. People are looking at me waiting. Exactly. People are looking at me waiting, having expectations. I don't know if I'm going to be able to meet them. Yeah. So as you said, it's work in progress. I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. I'm still going to do work with young women and with girls. Very passionate about that. And I still have to figure out now how to infuse that with who I am now, with all the skills that I have. How do I put that on the table? And how do I make my passion give me profit as well?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes. So that is me 2020 coming into 2021.
2021. By the way, when I listen to your story, I kid you not, I relate to that story 100%. I also do the same thing to myself. I also think sometimes, when you listen to the stories of top 30, under 30, you see under 30-year-olds doing things that look big, and you're there wondering, hey, what's up with my life, the pressure. You look at your schoolmates, you're wondering, what's up with my life? And then the truth is, nothing you ever do will ever be enough. I'm just saying, even today in the morning, I woke up in the morning beating myself up because there's nothing I can ever do that will make me feel like I'm doing enough. There's always that constant struggle. And I think for you in your story, you said you always felt like you have to prove a point. And in the long run, you lost yourself, you lost your family, you lost everything else. So let me ask you, before you, because for someone who loves their work, it becomes very hard to leave your work, and then the decision to be on your own, to be your own boss. And I know right now, because clearly when you're starting a company, the first year you mostly don't make a lot of money. So you're there thinking there's no money you're making. So you're waking up in the morning, you're like, maybe I should go back to work. Maybe you're thinking of so many things. In your head, you're unemployed, but you needed that break. So let me ask you, how was it? How for you to resign? Was it an easy decision for you? Had you already had enough, or it's something you had been thinking about?
One, I had never thought about entrepreneurship. I won't lie to you. Maybe a side hustle to help people, but never be my own boss, as you're saying. Never. Like, if one of the things, if you'd have asked me sometime last year, Nicole, what would you say? I would say, oh, I'm a development worker, I'm a feminist, I'm a marketer, never an entrepreneur. So one, it was triggered by just that near-death experience because I was in HDU, that near-death experience of how quickly your life can change. For me, that was it. It just triggered that I needed to do things differently. It was time. Like, my body had said no. The universe was telling me, no, stop, reevaluate. And then also my daughter was in class 8. So I also just realized I need more time. She's becoming a teenager. I need to spend more time with her. I need to spend time with my younger daughter as well. I needed to do my parenting. I needed to reconnect with my friends. I needed to just reconnect with the world and myself. Because I'm telling you, I woke up and looked in the mirror. I didn't recognize myself. I did not recognize myself. And I'm just like, yani watu walikuwa wananiangalia tu hivi. Na
You had
wako
no
wananiambia
memory at
mazee
all.
nilichapa. No
Yeah.
memory. And then nilikuwa nimechapa kuchapa. As in, like when I think about it, I never made my hair. I never did my nails. Just simple things. Hata za zingine kama ni kuoga unaweza lenga kwanza because you need to get something done. I forgot about myself.
And it's during a
But then
pandemic
who
when
will I
people
present to the world?
Yeah. And so during a pandemic, not many people came to see you at that point.
Yeah. And I was just, very few, first of all. And then I was in isolation 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Medically, the doctors are like, no, isolation. So I was in isolation, both so mentally. You can imagine you wake up and I remember there was a time I could hear people, but I couldn't see. So I was like, I'm in the morgue. Hey, kumbe when people die, this is what, like, I was having those kind of experiences. And then I couldn't have people around me. And this was recommended by the doctor. So it was me time, forced me time. And then you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's true.
It was a lot of that, a lot of food for thought. So it was time. I think the illness contributed to it. Mentally, I think my brain was tired, so my body also wasn't like haikuwa ina participate vizuri when it comes to medication. I was reacting to medication. I was scared. I think all my fears then came to play. When you're taking a lot of, like, I was taking antidepressants, a lot of your fears come to play. And when you're not yourself, it's very easy to say them. So if my fear was work, I kept talking about work. I kept, I was very anxious for a very long time. I was in a bad mood. Mara, I was sad, a lot of emotion. So it was time. I think the illness was just like now a tip on the iceberg to say, imetosha. So that was the turning point. And then I knew I needed to do things differently. I keep working for so many people. It was time for me. Let me try and work for myself. We see. Let's make this money. Make this money. I'm not a boss baby yet, but I'm on my way there. I keep having to remind myself, hey, by the way, ukilala leo, hautakula kesho. So I mean, I'm still, I'm not dependent on, I need to depend on myself. You get?
Yeah.
Business will come because of the efforts that I put continuously.
It's true.
And it's not easy. Not that I've put effort and made anything. That thing of not getting money for the first year. Imagine it's true. It's real. It must be strategy. Hata na strategy. Hata na links. Yani bahati yako.
Where it's true.
Yeah. I mean, and I love strategy. On paper, I have strategies. I have but on the ground,
things are different.
Mfuko zote mbili.
But congratulations. So, congratulations for starting either way. Sometimes you just have to make the decision and start. You never know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But another thing I've also learned sometimes, I think we pressure ourselves too much. The process, so our processes are very different. But for me, I also think I put a lot of pressure on myself. But there's that satisfaction that comes with being your own boss. But then at the same time, it's also a struggle. Every day you're facing your own doubts, you're facing your own fears. You're thinking, hey, yeah, you need to get a job. Like the days you wake up in the morning and like, hey, yeah, maybe I need to get a job or I need to do something else. So let me ask you now, mentally. So after you've already resigned, you've already now started your own company. How was your journey to recovery? Like, what did you do? Are you now? Do you think whatever happened to you in 2020 can happen again? What kind of things have you done now to yourself?
One of the things I think I keep doing, I keep calling myself for meetings. I sit I keep calling myself for meetings. I meet myself. I sit with Nicole and meet myself to check myself. One, and also to keep encouraging myself. I mean, like, of course, a lot of the time I'm like, what have you done? What are you doing? But I'm very keen on pushing, being my own cheerleader. Very important, because a lot of the time we feed off what other people say. Oh, Nicole, you're great. Nicole, you're this. Oh, we feed off a lot of it. When it's removed and you sit in the mirror with yourself, are you cheering yourself on? Very important. Everybody else can believe in you, but you don't believe in yourself. So I grapple with that a lot, but that's one of the things I do. One, call myself to meetings. So I have me time. I purpose to believe in myself, even when I doubt myself, just telling myself the words that, you know what, you can do it, a day at a time, patting yourself. We recently started doing a gratitude jar. A cousin of mine has it in her house, and I decided it's something that I want to take on. So putting a gratitude jar, not only for me, but also for the girls, so that we have something that we're grateful for every single day. Taking breaks. Me, by the way, I'm not a person who believes in breaks, but I'm learning that imagine you can sit and do nothing. Imagine, okay, to sit, have your nails done, massage yourself, and it's not
That's the
expensive.
hardest thing even for me.
Take honey, put it in your face. I know, but imagine you deserve it. And going to the salon, not so that they can finish your hair, so they can massage and wash you when they're doing it. And actually taking time to say when they're doing it and breathing. So those are some of the things I'm doing. I'm breathing as well. Also trying to maintain relationships that are positive. I'm a helper. I love helping. Nikiona mtu ako na shida ndo huo mimi, come to my house. Come to my house. Let me help you. Their problems become mine. So one of the things I'm learning to do also is just make sure that I'm in relationships. I get fueled by helping other people, but at the same time, not taking it on and burdening myself. I'm still struggling with that a little bit. So I want relationships, one that can benefit me. So mentors, friends, tunasaidiana. I think I'm getting also, because I'm 30 plus, my friend. So I'm now getting to that point where I need to have some sort of structure in terms of the people who are in my life, my friends. There are mistakes you can make when you're 20 something. When you start getting to 30, people are like, you know. So creating valuable, I want to build valuable relationships, and I think it's very helpful, family wise, friend wise, relationship wise, if it's my partner, and building a healthy kind of lifestyle. Walking is important. I'm not a walker. I do not like exercise. I don't understand why I can't just eat and do whatever I want. Freedom.
Allow me to enjoy myself.
The world, universe. Yes, I want that. But you see, the thing, I need things like walking, and I started walking. I'm actually enjoying it a lot. Like I wake up at 5 and I'm like, okay, you have to walk, do it. And like, imagine the way I will feel after I've done it, even if it's just a little. I'm not competing for a marathon, so I can do it in my time. I am very self-conscious, so I want to do it in the dark like a night runner. So I will do it in the dark at 5 when everybody else is sleeping. So that kama ni kuhema, kama ni kusimama, sweating, I just do it on my own. And it's me time. It's little time, but I give myself 1 hour. I say every hour, that is my time. Yeah, if it's time for prayer, because spiritual health is important. I think I was struggling with that as well. I didn't know who I was spiritually. You're sitting, you're looking at like, who's this? Your time with God, taking time to open up your heart, open, because this is the thing. But yourself, easy feature. So taking time to just say, you know what, Nicole, shame on you. By the way, shame on you for that. And good. You couldn't have done it any other way. And then pray about it. Yeah. So those are some of the things that I'm doing, just and taking time to take care of myself. Small things, just small, even if it's once a week, taking just time because I forgot about Nicole. But that was last on my list.
Yeah.
The most important thing was work, then motherhood, then my friends, then my relationship, and then me somewhere. If I come, I'm somewhere there, at the end. And so shifting my priorities, because then if I'm not whole, what am I giving to everybody else? All these people that I want to help, all these changes, the big things I want to do in this world, how am I going to do them? And fuel my passion, because your passion also, by the dwindles with time. You start wondering, why am I doing this? You start wondering about your creativity, and you're like, I have this idea, but I have it. It's not complete. I can't focus. So dealing with that, and then forgiving myself. I'm keen on forgiving myself, because we all make mistakes. It's important to forgive ourselves. I mean, I think it's work in progress. But I'm keen on forgiving myself for a lot of things, for the time that I didn't spend doing I don't know what, for and just telling yourself, by the way, it's okay, Nicole, like it's okay, and it's past. It must be about learning and doing things differently, regardless of your age. And let me tell you what, the power I think is in our mind. I'm still trying to fathom where I'm at in terms of my mind, but the potential is all in us. By the way, all of us, and fall, but don't be out. I know it sounds it's easier said than done, but it's those ones of, like, for me, half the time I'm just like, what, say fallen. Angalau hata niamke, ni kama naweza, ni kama siwezi. but it's just that forgiving yourself and living and enjoying your life. Your life is for enjoyment, by the way.
That's true.
We weren't given a so we can suffer. We're not slaves anymore.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be slaves to our work. Do what you can do, but draw the lines. Draw the lines, even for your own good. By the way, draw the lines in regard to what is important, what is your priority, where you want to go, set goals towards it, make baby steps, and you can do all of those things. Yeah, our minds are limitless. Before I used to think it was about having a degree. I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I need a degree at some point for me to grow to a certain level. For now, what can I do?
Yeah,
in the meantime to get me having the degree with what I have while I wait to get there, because I want to get there. So what goals have I set? Is it money? Where will I get the money? Okay, can I do free courses while I wait? Yes, so that I'm doing something continuously to achieve those things that I want. Yeah. I generally usually don't plan so far, but I'm learning to plan. It's important. Because somebody asked me, what's your goal for 5 years? I'm like, then unajua unaanza kusema how? Like be smart about it. In 5 years, I'm going to be a manager. Be smart about it. So what are you doing now to get there? I mean, like, usually you'll be asked and you'll be like, yeah, me, I want to do this. But what are you doing to actually literally get there? I want to own land. I want to own a house. I have 1,000 bob now. I will be saving 1,000 bob. If you get 12, I'm going to join a housing scheme or, that kind of a thing. But having goals that I can work towards, because it helps me mentally to pat myself on the back. Because otherwise you feel like you're doing nothing. Me, I run around like a headless chicken a lot. So what happens is then you sit and you're like, yeah, I'm tired, but sina pressure on focus, sina client. Yeah, what am I doing? Like, I genuinely ask myself a lot, what am I doing? I'm tired. Si ati sijafanya kitu, but ni kama sijafanya kitu. Na mtu akiniuliza, they're like, so what are you doing? You're like, and outcome, nothing. So setting those goals and then holding yourself accountable and finding someone who you trust, who can also hold you accountable. So that you have a big brother, someone who you're poking, or a big sister, someone who's you're poking each other. Is how umefika wapi na hii. And don't be afraid to share. People are very afraid to share about how they are feeling. Don't be afraid to share. I think it's important. Because sometimes it's a relief. You don't want, see, akupatie pesa. But see, it's not about them giving you money. It's about them hearing you and you listen to another point of view. And don't feel shame in it. It's okay not to know. Me, I hate not knowing. By the way, I think in another lifetime, I'm Mjuaji. Me, I like to know everything. If you ask me anything, I should be able to answer it.
It's true.
So not knowing, it's really, but it's a humbling experience. It's a humbling experience, but it's very necessary.
So I think I relate a lot with your story because that's my struggle. But one thing I'm also hearing from your story is it is a lie for someone to tell you if you've been struggling, this mental health struggle is a continuous process. It's not, there's no way you wake up and you don't feel like that. I think that's what I'm learning even from your story and even from other people's stories. Every day you wake up feeling inadequate and it's okay. Even right now, it's not that it's something that is going to be wiped off completely, because I've always beaten myself up because you wake up in the morning and you wonder, the previous day you were okay, you feel like you're winning something. Today in the morning, you're just there, super depressed, and you're wondering higher. And it continues. It's continuous. I don't know how. I don't know what you can do to erase it, but it's also understanding that it's something that will not necessarily leave you. You have to constantly fight and face it. Yeah.
So maybe just to add on, that things change and you change with things. Like Mungu ni mso. Yani, the way he made you, you're so unique, I'm so unique. And contexts change every single day. You didn't think sometime last year or the year before we'd be working from home.
Yeah, it's true.
We didn't think, this is the thing, we weren't thinking outside the box. But let me tell you what the world, different contexts, different times, different reactions to different things. You'll take an example of marriage, for example. Different people think differently about it. Marriage works differently for different people. Relationships, love, romance, writing, everybody is so unique and different. There's no one who writes or thinks the exact same way. We're like our fingerprints, you see? And I think even our mental health is based on that, you understanding yourself, and then also understanding that people will think differently, people will act differently, will react differently. it doesn't make them a weaker person or a stronger person. It just means that they are different, because all of us are wired differently. That is my thinking, my thought process a lot of the time. So what would I tell myself? One, that I can do anything that I want to do. I can dream big. I can do anything that I set my mind to do. That's what I would tell her. I'd tell her to fearlessly persevere, fearlessly love, fearlessly share, smile, and I tell her to be kind to herself. And then just to find yourself over and over again. Like, this is what I would tell her. I continue to tell her, find yourself every day, find yourself. So that it's okay if you're feeling like you just want a hug. It's okay if you're feeling like you want mothering and you're the mother. It's okay sometimes to feel like the mother, to feel like the leader. You are allowed to feel. So find yourself every day. This is the thing, and do it fearlessly. People say I'm a hopeless romantic, and when I go in for things, I go in and I go in wholeheartedly. It's something that I don't want to lose. But the way this world is, a lot of the time, it makes you feel like you're naive. People will tell you, "Hey, you're naive. We are mjinga." You know, because of the way they do things. I want to find myself and be comfortable with myself in fearlessly doing whatever it is that I do. And that's what I would advise Nicole. I continue to advise her on that. And don't give up. I don't know, it's a difficult time for everyone, but how do you just tell people to never give up, even in the dire situations, to never give up? That's what I would say. And even with my daughter now, I have a teenager. She has her own mind, but because of the kind of spirit I have, sometimes najisahau, najipata mimi ndo nimemake decision on her behalf. As a result, she does not like pink color. It's just an example. You learn that everybody is themselves. And even if you are a strong personality, even if you're a strong person, one, remember to breathe and don't overwhelm people. Because sometimes it can happen without you realizing. And then I'm sure I've had that enough times. Everyone was always like, hey, Nicole will do it. It's okay. She's burning out. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yet I also need support. Yeah, I also need support, and it's okay to ask for help and be my own cheerleader. Work in progress.
Yeah. So well, let's do on the mental health, because we are going to talk about now what you're doing right now, and how people can reach you and everything. So what kind of advice now will you have to someone who's listening?
One, I think spend time with yourself. Spend time with yourself, so that you're able to understand, this is Nicole, this is my need. And it's okay for you to have whatever need it is. Even if it's a need for cake, I don't know, like whatever your need is for love, if it's your need for reassurance, all those needs, understand what your needs are. For me, that is, I think, key. Understand that, because your body will show you. Yeah. If not, it'll tell you when you have a feeling, you're feeling something has triggered you feeling something. And it's a need for you. Understand your need. Again, forgive yourself. I think we really beat ourselves down. We hear a lot about suicide. We hear a lot about people cutting themselves nowadays, people getting into bad relationships, running away from home. Because a lot of the time it has to do with shame. It has to do with you're trying to run away from you. So learning to forgive yourself regardless. You have to be the first one. Everybody can forgive you, but if you're not forgiven yourself, you're fighting a losing battle. Yeah. I said having meetings with myself, difficult ones. But let me tell you, even at night, even if you're sleeping with somebody in your bed, a lot of the time, ukienda kulala uko peke yako, kiakili uko peke yako, no matter what. And be open to dealing with those with those things as they come. And then it's okay to be happy. Imagine, there's nothing wrong with being happy. There's nothing wrong with giving yourself gratitude. Just saying thank you. And I think even with the pandemic, for a lot of people, it's taken them realizing the smaller things. Those small things. Have conversations. Sometimes you want to call a friend just to rant and rage and finish, then say, by the way, I'm done, I don't want a solution. Najua una pesa hata mimi sina. There's something about laughter. There's something about getting that loving, appreciating feeling. There's something about that. Yeah. So for me, that would be it. And I keep saying, find yourself every day. That's what I would tell anyone in my situation. Find yourself usichoke. You can't get tired of yourself. You're stuck with you. I always tell myself that. I'm always like, Nicole, hey, you're stuck with you, just so you know, no matter what. So yes, fall in love with yourself. Find yourself every day, and it is okay.
Yeah.
It is
I
okay.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we hear you because you said it. For me, it's find yourself every day, and it's every day, even it's after every 6 hours. So every day you wake up and find yourself, and
Mm,
also the idea of the gratitude jar. I think it's a very good idea. Maybe I should try it.
mm,
Um, Gratitude jar and
mm,
having time, intentional mean time, and learning to be present.
mm.
Yes. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your experience. I know it will never be back. You'll never be to that level again. Um,
Amen. Amen.
it will never happen again. But then you're very strong for. But then your story is very inspiring. Let me tell you, for someone your age, you've gone through a lot and you've tried the best you can. Even as a young mom, you have done well. Congratulations. I hope you take yourselves on vacations. You have done well. You have done well. For the few
I
5 years,
I need a vacation.
you are Yani, you have done the best you can. There's nothing you could have done any different or any better. You're just doing well. You are okay the way you are right now. So you've been in employment for a while. You are used to getting money at least every month. Now you have decided to be on your own. Now you have decided to be on your own. So tell us, what is this that you're doing and how has the journey been so far? So that was last year. You said last year, November. So you decided to be your own boss.
Yes.
You registered the company. So what's the
Yes.
company about?
So Foresight Concepts is a marketing agency. We offer 360 marketing solutions for companies. We do a lot of work around FMCGs and then social marketing, as I mentioned. So working with NGOs and development work to bring brands to them. Yeah, based on what the need is and what the brand has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also keen on CSR and supporting CSR for companies
Mm-hmm.
as well, and now digital marketing. So that's the baby within the baby.
Yeah.
Is digital marketing. So creating content for small homegrown brands. I'm keen on, especially working with small brands that are just coming to life. A lot of people become entrepreneurs and they struggle with the marketing. So offering marketing solutions for especially homegrown brands as well. So we give a 360 approach in regard to having a market and a very personalized kind of experience. The feedback that we've gotten so far, a lot of people are like, your experience is so personalized. You give me an experience, you speak to my heart. And so we want to market, but market from the heart. So it's not about, I think at the end, it gives us the return on investment in regard to bringing those brands to life. So yes. Yeah.
So is there any advice, maybe something you've not talked about? Anything? No, this is random, very random. Anything you'd want to mention that you may not have talked about that you may want people to know and to just anything.
Mentorship, by the way, like for real, I think like there's so much spending time with older people who are older than us. Our grandmothers, me, I'm lucky. I have young grandmothers. Spending time with them. Maneno ya chama, maneno ya like finding out how they steer through life. You know, Mazi people had 6 kids. So only one
Yeah.
person is working. Hey, as in, and they got by. And imagine, like, strangely, I'm not saying that their mental health is added, because sometimes now you're like, ndo maana huyu alikuwa na behave hivyo. But I feel like there's that disconnect between us and knowing everything and not sitting. Me, I used to spend time with my grandma. I used to like sitting at her feet or massaging her feet.
Yeah.
I learned so much. But I still, like me, I love it. I mean, like, we take for granted when we have our parents, taking time to actually sit with them, not so they can stress you or anything, so you can listen to their stories. Like, I enjoy it. There's so much you learn. And I'm telling you, I feel like there's that generation that really enjoyed talking about their experiences, about how their marriage, how they watched you hot pants, and you're just like, okay, yuck. But something in how they lived life so simply. You had chamaito so that you knew each other. People are not even related. Me, I think I found out later on, the people I'm not related to. But Mazemi, I was sure they were my cousins.
Yeah.
Or my aunties. But there was no relation. But because of that kind of bond that was built from the stories they tell you.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like we've lost it. We've lost a lot. We've lost a lot. And there's so much that we can learn. That is something that for me, I think I would say in closing, because it's not something that I had written down.
Yeah.
But I'm keen on that. I'm following up on it. I've made a conscious decision. We have a lot of like chamas, my grandmom's chamas and such. Not my mom's generation, my grandmom. So a lot of chamas, and they meet and they love each other and they know each other. I'm telling you, where we've reached, mtu anaweza wa kazini yake bila kujua, alafu umeka mstay umemaliza 1 year, unapeleka mtu nyumbani, alafu nashanga, we've been trying to have kids, we can't have. Of course you can't, you know. It's there's something around that. And then unauliza mtu, I've been dating for a year, have you gone to their home? No.
Yeah.
Do you know where they come from? Kumbe jina sio. No. Do you see?
True.
All of those things, and we're protected from those things. It was nani ameleta nani? Uni nani? Hata ukienda kutafuta, the dad is disappearing, hiyo shida itaisha. By the way, itaisha because you'll know where he comes from. Unaenda unapeleka mtoto ndo shika. You know, or you say, you know, this thing so I'm looking forward to this year, especially purposing to understand my family tree, understand my family, understand where we come from, why, what happens, even those difficult discussions that they don't like to have, having them.
Maybe I like that experience of finding older people. And I know we may not have mentioned this, but I'm supposed to be your auntie. I'm your auntie. So your children,
your grandma. Yes, you're a grandmother. By the way, just so you know.
That's I'm a grandmother. My mother is your grandmother and their great grandmother. And they privileged.
Yes, and she carried me when I was born. One of the first people who carried me. She brought my mom up as well. So yes, your mom.
Where? Anyway.
Ask her.
By the way,
when she saw my daughter, she even said, "This is Nicole exactly." My daughter was 6 when we came.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah. Maya, oh my God. Complete reminder. And then she said my daughter also reminded her of my mom.
So how can people find your services? Where can they find you, contact you if you want any of your services? Foresight Concepts, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Foresight Limited. So one, we are based in Kileleshwa. We have an office, a physical office. Online, I can share my number and my email address.
Okay.
Our website is currently in progress. Almost done.
Okay.
Promises to be fun. And we're also on social media.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us. I think people have gotten a few insights here, and I know you've encouraged someone and you've discouraged someone who has a toxic work habit to choose yourself first. Because hata ukikufa watu watakuchangia tu, alafu matanga yako wanaweka advertisement the same day. Continues without you. So you'd rather
your colleague atakusimamia. Your colleague will stand in your place.
They do it much better than you. So choose yourself, like prioritize yourself, your family above every other thing.